on the field. We actually have Williams projected as a top 5 running back for this week, so keep that in mind when the tough decisions come into play. Devontae Smith was pissed last week when Jalen Hurts decided to target Jalen Reagor on 2 should have been game-winning touchdowns, both of which he dropped in embarrassing fashion. Exit Nelson Aguilar, enter Jalen Reagor. But hey, it's cool. It's not like there was a good receiver the Eagles could have drafted ahead of him last year. Definitely not someone who broke the all-time rookie receiving yards record. Nope, that guy doesn't exist. Whatever. Here's the point. I'm not a big narrative guy, but this is going to be a squeaky wheel game for Smith, who is the clear top playmaker of all Eagles pass catchers and went essentially unused last game so Nick Sirianni could force-feed Reagor with a team-leading 7 targets in a dreadful loss to the Giants. There's no way Reagor doesn't see his playing time disappear after last week. He was already scarcely used before Sunday's embarrassment. Quez Watkins should get a few looks, and Goddard will probably reemerge as the number 2 pass catcher, but Smith should be able to pick apart this Jets secondary that closely resembles a Division II unit. New York's allowing a horrible 8.2 yards per attempt to opposing passers and 49 passing plays of 20-plus yards this year. This is the highest implied total the Eagles have had all season. They're 7-point favorites on the road, and Smith comes into this game with the clear highest target share at 20.
All right, welcome in. Good morning, everybody. We appreciate you hanging with us on another Sunday as we get you ready for a busy Week 13 in the NFL. Your season-long questions, start sits will be answered as we're with you for the next hour plus. Myself, Nick, RC in the house, Chris is producing. You out there in the chat, we ask really just one thing, hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed. See it already. The super chat's in here. Overcome. People are already congregating in there, fellas. Hope you had a good week. RC, Nick, good to see you guys. And let me just say this. Let me preempt it before you notice maybe, I don't know what it would be coming out of Nick here, but it's a frustrating year for Nick in our Awesemo C League. And today could be a frustrating day for him as RC, I'm about to put the final nail in his season.
You love to see it. Things you love to see.
Tough scene. No, it is what it is, though. Honestly, my whole team's hurt. It is what it is.
You know, it's
Hopefully
not hurting, though, Nick. That
No.
background of yours. That background of yours. It's elite right now.
Exactly.
You got to throw that out there.
Exactly.
Look, the Dolphins are going to win.
The Dolphins going to win by 50.
Nick's got a fantastic, dope-ass background there. It can't be all good, RC. There has to be some balance today. So the Awesemo C League, he'll take the L. That's okay.
That's how it's supposed to be. You can't go too high there, Nick. You got to have some balance in your life. So good to hear that that's happening for you.
Exactly. I'm excited to play against the Titans in a couple of weeks and beat you as well.
I mean, I would be too. Have you seen the Titans the past 3 weeks? We could play at wide receiver for them. I'd start myself if I was able to.
Yeah, so would I.
I mean,
It should be a pretty good week for all of us, though, don't you think, as far as
Yeah, you
just
get to see the
teams
better
and-
quarterback for the Eagles, Gardner Minshew.
Don't you start.
Man.
There will be no quarterback controversy here. Look, here's the beauty of it. Nick's team gets a win. My squad gets a win. And RC, don't you all technically get a win because you're not playing?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great day to be a Titans fan right now. You don't have to watch whoever the hell they have at wide receiver at this point in life. So, yeah, I'm taking Week 13 as a W. There's no other way to look at it right now with how abysmal they've been for the past month.
All right, we got a lot to go through. Injuries, Debo is out. We have a bunch of news that popped later in the week here as well. We know Dalvin Cook. Overcome, though, right away on the Super Chat. We appreciate everybody hanging with us. So, by all means, the Super Chat, not necessary, but totally and always appreciated. Nick, let's start with you. Overcome, RC as well. Start Michelle over Miles Sanders. And I'll add Boston Scott is active, so we should factor that into. But on the other side, Henderson dealing with an injury as well. He's still questionable for this game against the Jags.
Yeah, so based upon everything that I have read from Adam Schefter, it seems like Darrell Henderson is not going to play. So to me, I would slot in Sony Michel. Now, obviously, is Sony Michel some elite talent? Of course not, but he is still pretty solid. I think given the workload up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is a really good spot. Obviously, Miles Sanders has been just so up in the air all season. I don't think he's had a good game since week number 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and go with Sony Michel. What are you thinking, RC?
No, I'm right there with you. I don't see why the Rams would even put it out there in terms of Henderson playing against the Jacksonville Jaguar team that they should beat anyway. So just give him a week off again. Let Michel do the work. We've seen what Michel can do when he was up in New England. Obviously, a completely different system out there in LA, but he can be a true workhorse running back for a couple weeks here and there. So, yeah, I'm definitely starting Michel over Miles Sanders. But I also think that Miles Sanders could have a good game today. I was talking about it with Chris before we hopped on here live, producer Chris. Like, it feels like one of those games where Miles Sanders is going to be the guy between the 20s and then Boston Scott's going to steal all of his red zone work. Like, that's what's going to happen. But no, I definitely start Michel of those two options for sure.
Yeah, we'll come back to Sanders by all means. In this particular one, I agree with you. I do think that it's weird. Like Boston Scott, him being active, I think far more elevates his own status than it does take away from Sanders, simply because they only have really these two guys. I don't think Kenny Gainwell is going to be involved at all, really. I think Nick Sirianni, this offense against the Jets, who are just atrocious against both the run and the pass, if they get up, you'll just see a combination of both of them. So does that make sense? Like, I don't think Sanders dips, but I think Scott improves significantly. But when you compare it to Sony Michel, clearly it's not even close when you look at the volume. So I get what you're saying there as well. All right,
yeah,
let's keep it moving here. More. So let's talk about some injuries here. A bunch of start sits we'll get back to as well. But I did see on the chat with Deebo Samuel out, a bunch of people now asking what to do specifically. And, hey, this is what I get for trying to multitask and hand a baby off in the middle of the show. There was something about Deebo. So let's just look at a couple of chats and I'll find it here. Jerry Jeudy or Corey Davis? RC, let's start with you here, and I'll get that Deebo one back up.
Yeah, I'm going with Jerry Jeudy on that one. I think that the Jets are going to have to pass more against the Eagles, but again, he's the number one target for the Denver Broncos, Jerry Jeudy is, and we've seen how bad Courtland Sutton has been when Jerry Jeudy is healthy, and now, sure, I get it, you're having to catch passes from Teddy Bridgewater, but just a better talent, Jerry Jeudy, and I think that he has a chance to break one more than Corey Davis, so I would start Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, there's no way I'm playing Corey Davis, and I don't even like Jerry Jeudy. It sucks for, obviously, Courtland Sutton because he's taken away all of his targets, but I'm still going to go ahead and go Jeudy.
Great matchup, too. Kansas City's got a terrible secondary, so, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, they have gotten 6 picks in the last 6 weeks, though, so I think they might look a little bit better this week.
Yeah, I think that there's some middle ground there where it's like they become a little bit more difficult of a matchup against a quarterback, but from like Judy's standpoint or the wide receiver one should still look like they, I agree with you. There should definitely be an easier pathway here. Minshew or Bridgewater? All right, so let's look at this here. You're talking about, again, this factors right into the point you just made, Nick, about the 6 picks and going up against a quarterback that really isn't designed to have big games from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah,
it's just hard for me to think that there's a fade for Minshew today because of the defense more so than anything else. Like, Minshew's not bad. He's just going up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I would probably play Minshew as well. I think in a majority of situations, I'd just go off of Minshew. But when it comes to Teddy Bridgewater, like, he's nothing special for fantasy. I think the way the team wins the game is by just running aggressively with Javonte Williams. So I would lean with Gardner Minshew here.
Fellas, it's finally Javonte Williams week. I've been asking for it all year, and now we get it.
Yes, you have.
Now he's going to disappoint me. All right, that's great. I already know the outcome of that. But when it comes to the quarterbacks, yeah, I'm going to start Gardner Minshew. Yeah, on that front, just because, I mean, yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is probably going to have to throw a bit more, but we know what Teddy Bridgewater is in terms of the dink and dunk and everything like that. At least Gardner Minshew will take a couple of risks down the field and have that big playability to Devontae Smith, maybe to Dallas Goedert. So I'm going to start Gardner Minshew in that regard, just for the higher upside type play.
This is the week you've been asking for, to be fair.
I know. Like, and I'm going to be sadly disappointed. Like, I know I am.
Where has this come? Like, who was the first person? We're all negative and we're all pessimists, but who was the first one to really bring this now to the show? Like, I can't say anything. I'm from Philadelphia, where we call it Negadelphia, because we can't even enjoy anything positive. Nick has been down on his squad to the point where I think it's like reverse psychology right now. And there's nothing positive you could say about your Titans, even if you tried, RC. So we're just a show full of pessimists here.
Yeah. It's not a great scene right now. At least one of our teams is looking competent and everything like that. The Dolphins, who would have thought? Not me. Not me.
It's amazing.
Go to the
Guys
Super
be
Bowl.
picking to the 20th. Exactly.
We're going
there
to the
you go.
Super Bowl. All right.
There
This
you
is
go.
when we cut the stream short and go away for a little bit after comments.
It's true.
If the
Watch the
Dolphins go
game.
to the Super Bowl, Nick's going to do his show without a Oh, wait, we tried that one already.
No. If
We
that
can't
actually
trust the guy
happens,
for that.
I'll come pantless and shirtless. If we
No.
We
Trust
can't
me.
show it on
He
screen.
should
I'll
be-
go on the other tube. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's keep it moving here. I did find the Debo one, and this is more about just where you guys both have Ayuk, and also, Juwan Jennings was mentioned as a pivot here by Jason on the chat. I am curious, and RC, we can start with you as far as just the question itself. Would you start Juwan Jennings? Debo is out, so he's looking at that as a replacement here for an injured Debo. And more so, what your thoughts are on Ayuk as well, just kind of how this whole thing factors into the off. And I think Kittle, who has become less and less maybe of an auto play for people who could be frustrated week in and week out, but there's also just everything that kind of trickles down with this 49ers offense now with Debo out, who has been like the staple no matter what's happened with this team week in and week out.
Yeah, I think there's only 3 guys that I would feel comfortable starting this week, and that would be Ayuk, obviously, at the wide receiver position. I'm going to start George Kittle, even if he's been disappointing. You're going to be disappointed more so by some, lottery ticket, quote-unquote, tight end you pick off the waiver wire. So start your stud in George Kittle. And then Elijah Mitchell. Like, those are the guys that I'm going to start. It's that simple for me. Like, I don't think I'm going to try and risk anything else. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, if you're hit with, some bye weeks or something like that, because he's actually been really, really solid over the past couple of weeks. But I'm trying to stay away from those complementary pieces in the 49ers offense, and I'm just going with Mitchell, Kittle, and Ayuk. And I think Ayuk against a terrible, and I mean terrible, Seahawks secondary. I mean, they're just awful. I think that he could be a potential top 15 wide receiver this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Ayuk is in for a really big showing, but I think that's like the most chalk play ever. Like, everyone thinks he's going to do good, so therefore he's going to suck, right? Because we all think he's going to do good. But Juwan Jennings is a very interesting play. He has looked good at points in the season, but I think with Debo Samuel out, I wouldn't project him to be like a top 32 receiver, because I think there's definitely risk there, especially since this could be a game where Elijah Mitchell just takes over, right, and has a huge showing. We saw it last week. He had over 20 points. But yeah, I definitely, you got to play George Kittle. There's just so many bad tight ends in fantasy football that George Kittle is typically going to get you there and have a solid performance. So I do agree with what RC was saying.
The one thing about Debo being out is it's hard to just replicate him, not from a talent standpoint, but just from everything that he does on the field, right? Darren Waller goes out, Moreau comes in, Dalvin Cook comes out, Madison comes in. We saw this with Chubb and Hunt. The game plan and the style doesn't really change. But Debo does so many different things, from going downfield to an end around, that it's hard to really identify that one player who you can slide in and do all that. So it's kind of different. I guess what you're saying, though, is it's volume, but it's split up differently and almost allocated differently, not like we see with other big guys going down. Does that make sense, RC?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think it's one of those deals where Jimmy Garoppolo and mostly Kyle Shanahan, they realize Debo Samuel can do a little bit of everything, right? You could argue Debo Samuel's the best running back, wide receiver on that team that they have. So they're going to use him in a multitude of ways. I don't think anybody else on that roster can live up to that or anything. But also, I think they're just going to, split the usage of Debo Samuel and give it to 3 players in terms of Mitchell, Kittle, and Ayuk. And, maybe Jennings will be sprinkled in there, but I'm not trying to get the 4th option on the 49ers offense. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I got you. And you are kind of right in a way. Debo is almost the best running back on their team. Even though Elijah Mitchell has looked really good, Debo dominated last week. I don't even think he had a catch. He had 1,000 rushing yards last week before he got hurt.
He actually just added 10 more to his last week total just by this conversation. Now. It's wild. It's wild how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting in the hospital bed and he got a bunch of rushing yards.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Interesting question about the quarterbacks. Hit that thumbs up button. See some new people, some new eyes. So make sure you hit that thumbs up right below. Make sure you also are subscribed here. That's the big thing. And we have a couple of links for you right below this video. You can get $10 free from Yahoo. Just clicking that link, play it, do whatever you want with that $10. And also, if you're brand new to Yahoo, you see it's right above Nick's head. You can get a bunch, 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All you need to do is just sign up, make your first deposit, so you can use everything that we have on site, all of the tools and metrics, the Awesemo Plus Platinum package, alongside everything that RC and Nick are telling you here throughout. All right, bunch of start-sit questions. Yes, we see your please helps, your pleases. We appreciate all of the pleasantries here. It goes a mile. Elijah with a question about quarterbacks, and this is, I think, is a little deeper than maybe on the surface. Josh Allen or Matthew Stafford, Bills, Pats, Rams, Jags, the matchup here. The one thing that I'm just concerned about with Stafford, Nick, would be the blowout factor and how easily they could get up on Jacksonville. And on the other hand, if this is a tight game between the Patriots, Josh Allen isn't going anywhere. Like, I don't see a blowout factor against New England. So I don't know if that factors into your decision on these two.
Yeah, I personally think that Josh Allen, I have him ranked higher, but I think Matthew Stafford is just far safer because I think we could really get into a scenario where this is just a snoozer game between the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots, meaning it's not really a high-scoring game like a lot of people would project because, these are the two best defenses in the NFL, so I think that it is entirely possible that Josh Allen struggles. So I would go with Stafford because I think he's a little bit safer, but yeah, it's kind of just how I feel about it. But Josh Allen can hopefully negate all of the bad stuff by running the ball like Taysom Hill did the other night, where he threw 4 interceptions, somehow scored like 20, 25 fantasy points, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, I would go with Matthew Stafford. What do you think, RC?
I think I'd go with my stud and Josh Allen. I mean, it's one of those deals where, I get what you're saying in terms of the game and everything, and I actually agree with you. But I also feel like this could be one of those games where Buffalo just comes out, and they've struggled a bit recently, and they're just like, all right, we're going to show you who the best team in the AFC East is, and that starts with Josh Allen. You have to think about it. Who is the best running back on the Buffalo Bills? I don't know if they even – I don't even know if they have a good running back. Like it's
Allen.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's Allen. So there you go. You get 2 guys right there. And so I would start Josh Allen in this regard. And also I think Matthew Stafford's health, like, are they going to try and push that? We saw last week he was a little short on some throws and everything like that. Are they going to try and push that against an easier opponent in the Jacksonville Jaguars, where it wouldn't surprise me if Sony Michel is the starter and he gets 20, 25 carries just because, okay, we're going to use you for this 1 week. Let's kind of use it as a week to let Matthew Stafford rest while playing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, good point by Colin Berger here in the chat. 20 to 30 mile per hour winds tomorrow night in Buffalo, something to take note of. So that's under to me. That's running the ball to me, right? That's a lot of Josh Allen.
Let's ride.
Right, and it's interesting. I don't think there's an easy answer to that. So, I think to the person who asked that question, Elijah, right? You're not in a bad spot by any means with those two. I think it's a very difficult question because they're both providing a lot of value. All right, go Bill 17. Speaking of Buffalo and Berger, I saw your big one. We'll get to yours as well here. Start DK or Smith for Bill 17. And there's a running back follow-up here that is interesting because this is now going to test, I think, both your confidence in Michelle and also your patience, maybe is the best way to put it, with Saquon. But look, here we go. Let's start with DK or Smith, RC.
I'm assuming we're talking about Devontae, right?
Yes, Devontae Smith, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go with Devontae Smith, actually, in this one. It feels disgusting, but I'm trying to stay away from the Seahawks at this point. Like, I'm just done. Maybe I'm just scarred for life in the sense that I drafted this stack of Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett. Maybe I'm just done and I'm naive. I'm usually the guy that says player studs, but at this point, I don't know if the Seattle Seahawks offense can produce a stud, wide receiver, quarterback, running back, whatever you want. So I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. I think he is hyper-targeted this week because I think Nick Sirianni, if he has any kind of football IQ, realizes how stupid he was last week in targeting Jalen Reagor, and now he will go to his true number 1 wide receiver in Devontae Smith, and Gardner Minshew will hyper-target him, and I expect Devontae Smith to be a wide receiver 2 with even wide receiver 1 upside.
Yeah, I mean, if the Eagles weren't so incompetent at drafting, Jalen Reagor would be flipping burgers right now at Burger King. So, I mean, that guy's just terrible.
Burger King.
Yeah,
Oh.
Burger King. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's from a 50 Cent song. Would you be flipping
okay.
burgers
I
at
mean,
Burger King? You know what I'm talking about?
I thought you were going to go like, yes. Now, look, nobody's going to knock you for quoting 50, but I thought you were going to go like, what's the poor man's BK? Like the Hardee's or.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hardee's
that's what I thought he was going with. I thought he was trying to go to like a substandard burger joint. I was like, Burger King seems kind of high for Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, there's management programs at BK. Like, don't sell him short, man.
Chicken fries, even. You know what I'm saying? Like those chicken fries are elite.
You know what
all Nick was trying to do was quote 50, man.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's on us.
You know what Applebee's, they sell wings that have Cheeto dust on them. They're Cheeto wings. I know that has nothing to do with this live stream.
That is
so disgusting.
That is the most teenager sentence I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
No, I got to go get them.
Yes. Seriously.
Right, no.
I think you've just influenced a lot of people in the chat, I'm sure, are going to go get them just to try them. Like the gingerbread Mountain Dew. Don't sleep. All right, Sony or Saquon. Nick, let's start with you. This one, I think, again, let's test how confident you truly are in Sony Michel, or maybe how much you may have had it with Saquon Barkley.
Well, I don't have Saquon Barkley on a single fantasy team, and I can't stand this guy. I was reading off his stats earlier in my live stream, and it's honestly just shocking. Last week against the Eagles, 13 rushes for 40 yards, 4 receptions on 5 targets for 13 yards. Week 11 up against the Bucs, 6 rushes for 25 yards, 6 receptions, 6 targets, 31 yards. Why are they not giving the ball to their best player? They don't have likely Kadarius Toney this week. They're probably going to be without Sterling Shepard, so they should give the ball to Saquon, but they're so stupid that I don't even trust them to do that, so I'm going with Sony Michel. I really don't trust this Giants management, and again, I think the Dolphins just steamroll them, so.
I almost threw up in my bucket when I was hearing those stats by Saquon. I'm not even going to lie about it.
They don't feel bad.
Yeah, that was just brutally disgusting. Yeah, I'm right there with Nick, though. I'm starting Sony Michel just because, again, game script is going to be in his favor, right? I expect the Dolphins to actually, again, don't get a big head on this one, Nick, or anything like that. I'm not trying to, make your ego go any bigger, but I do expect the Dolphins to just obliterate the Giants today. So yeah, I'm going to go with the running back I think that has the positive game script, at least for his position, and Sony Michel, where I think the Rams go out and do the same thing that the Dolphins are going to do to the Giants and the Jags and win by a lot. And Sony Michel is going to get 20 to 25 touches.
I agree.
I question here from Jordan on the chat, and let's do this. RC and Nick, I know you guys have your rankings. So instead of the start 2, we've got 4 names to choose from. Why don't you just put them in order as far as how much you would get to them if all are available? Gaskin, Lockett, Ty Montgomery, or Devontae Smith?
All right.
First, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, so who were the questions again? It was Lockett. I don't know.
Gaskin, Lockett, Montgomery, Devontae Smith.
Well, okay, I can help Nick. Lockett should be last.
Oh, no, not in my opinion.
Oh, no.
I would go Gaskin, and then the other running back, and then Lockett, Devontae Smith.
So Gaskin, then Montgomery, then Lockett, then Devontae Smith?
Yeah, the problem is I actually think I have Montgomery ranked higher, but I have zero trust in Montgomery, if I'm being honest with you. Like last week, he has this easy matchup on Thanksgiving against the Lions, and he does nothing. Come on. Or was that not last week? Maybe that was the week prior, but I don't know. He's just not getting the ball. I don't get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were going to go Smith,
4
Gaskin, Lockett, Montgomery, to be honest with you. But
no, I think Gaskin scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's played really well, so I think he's actually pretty safe. And Phillip Lindsay isn't playing today, so that gives me more confidence in Gaskin.
I might just be like scarred for life, but I just don't want to trust Tyler Lockett. I don't want to trust anything Seahawks at this point because
that's fair.
Like their offense is it's just bad. Like I get he's getting the ball, but the problem is like even when he's getting the ball, he gets it for 1 half and then he's just disappears. It's the same thing with DK. Like DK didn't get a target in the first half and then was hyper targeted in the second half. Same for Lockett and everything. And even when they're hyper targeted, that only means like 4 targets in the Seattle offense. So I'd probably put Lockett last. I would probably go, man, this might feel a little ballsy. I might just completely flip Nick on this one. I'm going to go Devontae Smith. I truly believe in that squeaky wheel game in this one. And then I'm going to go Montgomery, Gaskin, and then a distant 4th is Lockett.
Look, I'll be the homer today. That's fine, but I'm with you. I think Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are going to benefit the most by a mile from Gardner Minshew out here. The Eagles recognized a major error last week. They were even public about it, quasi-public about it, because they didn't want to throw Reagor under the bus. But they realized that having Reagor with the same amount of targets as both Smith and Goddard combined is an error. So that's going to be corrected. And I think now you see, like a lot of times in the NFL, you don't see the pendulum swing to the middle. You see it swing to the opposite. So don't be surprised if you see both Smith and Goddard heavily targeted today as kind of compensation from that. All right, Naomi on the chat here. Nick, sorry, we'll start with you here. Marvin Jones or Rondale Moore? Help. We got you, Naomi.
Geez. Yeah, I got you. So I'm not playing Rondale Moore with DeAndre Hopkins back. I would go with Marvin Jones, and you are just hoping that the Jaguars are able to just crawl back into this game. If you look up Trevor Lawrence's stats, which I'm going to do right now, in the month of November, I'm pretty sure the guy has 1 total touchdown. So that would not point positively towards my argument, but I just don't trust Rondale Moore. He's one of those guys who really needs to catch that deep ball in order to do anything. Yeah, in the last month, since week 9, he has thrown 1 touchdown and 1 INT. He had 3 straight weeks of 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, but I'm still going to go with Marvin Jones because I just think he's the better player overall. What do you think, RC?
No, I'm right there with you. I'm going Marvin Jones just because, again, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I don't want to deal with anything right now when it comes to the Cardinals outside of, just DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray and then James Conner. Those 3 you have to start. But I'm also hesitant to start Hopkins in a little bit just because you're going to start him, but I'm not expecting DeAndre Hopkins to be DeAndre Hopkins in a way because I don't know what Kyler Murray is going to be because he's a game time decision. He's still going to play. At least with Marvin Jones, the game script is going to be in his favor out in LA against the Rams. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to throw the football. Doesn't really have any other options to throw it to because Laviska Shenault has been just hot garbage. They're not going to be able to run the football with James Robinson. So there really only leaves 2 other options, and Marvin Jones is one of them. So I think Marvin Jones at least has a chance to catch a touchdown in garbage time, and maybe the Jaguars go back to those garbage days with Blake Bortles and everything like that, and they save you fantasy-wise.
All right, so Colin's back. He's got a deep PPR question. And again, I think the best thing to do is to rank these. And I'm tempted, RC, to go to Nick first so that we don't have to repeat the names of who these guys are like 2 or 3 times. So here it is. Deep PPR league. Colin needs 2 for the flex. But I think, Nick, if you just look at where these guys are, RC as well, compared to your rankings and just look at who you would get to first. We've got Burkhead. We've got Tevin Coleman. We've got we've got Harris, and AJ Green. So we've got Burkhead, Coleman, Harris, or Green in the flex PPR.
Yeah, what'd you say again? No, I'm only kidding. I would go with Damian Harris, and because again, I think this is going to be a more run-heavy game by the Patriots. I think that the weather is going to affect that. But I do really like Rex Burkhead because David Johnson is out. Not that I really like him, right? That I'm 100% confident. But I actually think he could have a pretty solid game. But I would go with Damian Harris. I think he is by far and away the safest. But there's always that factor that Stevenson vultures the touchdown, and then you're pissed off. But I would go with Harris. What do you think, RC?
You're going Harris and Burkhead then for your 2?
I thought it was only 1. But if it's 2.
No,
I was just saying, it was just easier to kind of right. It was just easier to kind of list them there. I'm just appealing to Nick's ADHD, which I have as well. So
I'm right there with you. We got the trifecta with it.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So AJ Green would be out of the question. So yeah, I agree with you. I would go with the Rex Burkhead and the other guy. Jesus.
Yeah, Damian Harris. Yeah. I think I might go Tevin Coleman's interesting though.
Sorry, RC.
No, you're good. Tevin Coleman's at least interesting, though, right? I think it kind of surprised me last week how many carries he got. Albeit it's the Jets. They suck. But so do the Eagles. So maybe they keep the game close and Tevin Coleman doesn't have to come off the field. So I'd probably go with Harris and Coleman. But, flip a coin on Burkhead and Coleman, and I think you probably get the same result in the end of it. For the first one is definitely Harris, though.
Yeah. So here's another question, follow up from Colin, and it's an interesting one about anybody dealing with a 2 QB league. Starting Minshew over either Burrow or Allen. So he's got no problem there with Burrow and Allen, we're assuming, right, as his 2 quarterbacks in the 2 QB league. There is some sense, I guess, of the unknown of Minshew, but really the Jets defense we've seen outside of the last maybe week or so has been atrocious. I don't know if this is just you've got something in your hands and then you see something over there that's really shiny and you're thinking, do I just go grab that shiny thing because it could be a mirage? You've got Burrow and Allen as the 2 QB league, RC. I don't know if you should try and tempt fate there.
No, this is 1000% a Doug from Up the Dog moment where it's like, squirrel, squirrel. That's exactly. Okay, come on. Nick, don't tell me you've never seen Up before. Don't do that.
No, I've seen that movie.
That's
Kind of look
what-
like a
that's
little
what-
kid, you know?
Actually, I see it. Holy crap. Wow, that's amazing.
You never,
All right. anyway,
nobody's ever told RC that before.
Yeah, I see it. But no, yeah, I'm not getting away from Burrow and Allen. That seems like you're just trying to do a little too much. Just start your guys that are 2 top 10 quarterbacks this week, more than likely, and just be happy with those results. If Minshew does outscore them, which obviously is possible, okay, you're gonna maybe hate yourself a little bit. But I can guarantee you this: if Burrow or Allen outscore Minshew, you're really gonna hate yourself. So just start your 2 guys and run with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would start the 2 quarterbacks. There's no way you just throw Minshew in there for no reason. Like Minshew could, like, I think he's gonna have a good game, right? The Jets defense is terrible, but he could somewhat disappoint because you're probably everyone just loves the mullet man himself, and they get too excited about him. So I definitely go start your studs, play your 2 quarterbacks. Sorry about that, Eitan.
I will say this though, like if your league gets extra points for great mustaches, he's QB1. He's QB1.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the mustache. He's got the hair, he's got the mustache, he's got the cutoff jeans, right?
The jorts,
whole
big
look.
jorts guy.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe for Gardner, man.
Yeah, he should get his own
Not one that
commercials
I would
like
trust.
Brett Favre for the jeans. Should be hit.
Trust me, this guy has a 300-yard game against the Jets. Somebody out here in Philadelphia is going to be willing to give him a commercial. I can promise you that. All right, we got a bunch more here. Start sits. Muhammad has one. We have also a super chat want to get to right here from Lucius. Just a quick reminder as everybody continues to pop in here, your start sit questions will be answered. We only ask one thing, and that's you hit the thumbs up button and you make sure, obviously, you're subscribed here to our season-long fantasy football channel. We're doing a lot of great things. Our live shows 3 a week, including this one, leading you right up to when the slate locks. And then look, the links there from Yahoo are for you. $10 free to just have, go, play with, do whatever you want on Yahoo. Click that link, and then right below it, if you're brand new to Yahoo and you still think, wow, what are these guys talking about? Sign up, will you? And then take advantage of what we have. You click that link, you go through our portal here, and you're going to get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up. And if you don't understand the value of that, just search through Twitter, Awesemo, our account, all the people on there. They're tagged every single day from somebody who has a gigantic win throughout from UFC, NBA, NFL, what have you. So we appreciate you being a part of what we're doing. We're just trying to give back. Lucius on the super chat. Appreciate you, Lucius. Definitely not necessary, but always bump you up to the top of the line here. Ayuk or J-Rob? Let's start there. He's got a couple of questions in this super chat. Let's start, RC. Ayuk or J-Rob?
Man, this one right here. This is probably the best question we've had so far in terms of just to start sit right here. I'm going to go with Ayuk, I think, on this one, actually, just because game script and what's going to go down in LA. Yeah, James Robinson is going to be used a little bit in the passing game out of the backfield for the Jaguars. But I think Ayuk is going to be the main beneficiary of Deebo Samuel being gone. I think he's finally completely out of the Kyle Shanahan doghouse. So I'm going to go with Ayuk. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would go with Brandon Ayuk, but only strictly because I think that J-Rob is still a little bit banged up with that injury. I'm playing I'm playing James Robinson in a majority of situations, but in this one, I would go with Ayuk because, again, we talked about it earlier. He literally has top 5 potential this week. The Seahawks defense is hot garbage, so I think he could have a great game. And then for the second part of the question, I don't even remember if Eitan asked this part of the question, but Everett Gesicki, I would go.
I knew you couldn't help yourself. That's why. And I even started with RC, knowing you would transition into that.
The whole question. I'm answering the whole question. So
you're a pro.
Gesicki or Everett. If it's actually pretty funny because with the demise of DK Metcalf, Everett has been getting uber targeted. But I still would go with Gesicki, even though Gesicki's been a little bit disappointing. And then Bills or the Vikings. I would go with the Bills because I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And I think that the Vikings versus Detroit Lions might honestly get out of hand, and this is just a real back and forth game. And somehow the Vikings fail to cover, as they did last week. Very sad for me. What do you think, RC?
Yeah, I love the Lions covering that game, just as a nice little insert here. But now you can take both, RC. Tight end and D.
Yeah, we'll do. So Mike Gesicki, since week 6, has the tight end 22. Yeah. Like, he's not been good. But as I've mentioned a couple times in this stream so far, I am staying away from the Seahawks. Screw them. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Mike Gesicki on this. Bills or Vikings defense. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like you would think that the Bills defense against a rookie quarterback with high winds, as somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, and then snow potentially as well in Buffalo. Like I feel like I would go there, but I also think that the Vikings defense has been playing a lot better than people give them credit for in a lot of ways. Like they haven't been phenomenal by any stretch of the imagination, but when you play the Lions and Jared Goff, you're going to look a lot better than you actually are. So I'm going to go Vikings defense on this one. So I would start Ayuk, Gesicki, and then the Vikings D.
So there's an interesting transition here with the Lions. April on the chat, Jamal Williams or Sony Michel, full PPR. I got to be honest, Nick, if you want to take first crack at this, I might lean Williams here. What do you think?
Yeah, I would as well. I think that, it's so close, though. I think Sony Michel and Jamal Williams, you could easily make the argument that either of them are top 15 running backs on the week. I think that Jamal Williams, though, is a lot safer because I think that he's a much better player than Sony Michel at this point in their careers. I would probably go Sony Michel, though, because of the matchup, but it's like splitting hairs. What do you think, RC?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jamal Williams. I think this might be like the hottest take I have this week, but I think he's a top 5 running back. Like I truly believe that because there's
I don't think it's that big. Yeah.
Like outside of TJ Hawkinson, who the hell are you going to get the ball to in Detroit?
Right.
Like Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, like they're going to have to give it to somebody. So I think he could legitimately have 30 touches this week just because they have to give him the ball to run the football. He's back and healthy. I mean, no DeAndre Swift. I mean, yeah, I'm all in on Jamal Williams. But if you're having this problem, like, congratulations, you're in a much better setup than I am. I had to start Zeke and Mark Ingram this week. And let me throw up real quick. Go ahead.
Well, that's all in hindsight, though. I mean, at the start of the season, if we told you week 13 that your matchup was Jamal Williams or Sony Michel, week 1, you'd be like, damn, you're screwed. So it's all circumstantial of how things have played out. But yeah, there is something about Williams in this game. And remember, Nick, you and I agree with you. I don't think the Vikings are going to cover this game either. So it doesn't matter if it's a 13-7 game or if it's a 34-31 game. If it's a close game, Jamal Williams ain't going anywhere in that game script. So that's one thing that I think he's bulletproof to a lot of this here. All right, Pitts or Goddard? This is Muhammad on the chat. And I think this is interesting here, RC, because we have Pitts, who is just a monster from target share standpoint, knowing going up against a team in Tampa Bay who you can at least throw against. And then Goddard, who, again, I maintain is going to be maybe even more targeted this week than Devontae Smith, who I know you were high on.
No, yeah, I'm all in on Goddard and Smith this week. You mentioned it earlier in the sense of like, this is a squeaky wheel game, and there's not much of a better opponent to have in a squeaky wheel type situation than the New York Jets. Like, there's just not, right? Like, you think about what's going on with the Eagles right now. Yeah, you're missing Jalen Hurts, but I mean, Gardner Minshew loves to throw to guys that he shouldn't even throw to, even if they're double, triple teamed, which I expect you're going to see sometimes on Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. But give me Dallas Goedert over Kyle Pitts. I mentioned earlier, Mike Gesicki was the tight end 22 since week 6. Kyle Pitts is tight end 23. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Goddard.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Kyle Pitts has been a unmitigated disaster. I mean, he had that one good game against the Dolphins in London, had a solid game around that time as well. I think it was against the Jets. Or maybe the game against the Jets was in London, but you get what I mean. Like, he's had 2 good games all season. You drafted him in the 5th round, and it didn't make any sense why people drafted him so highly because only one rookie tight end has finished inside the top 10 in the last decade, and that was Evan Ingram. So, I mean, Pitts has been a disaster. There's no way I'm playing Pitts. I mean, Matt Ryan just fucking sucks, and he's not throwing the ball to him. He only gives the ball to Cordero Patterson, so that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Patterson, outside of him, it's just hard. I don't know. Maybe you guys were believing in the bounce back game or the this is it game that's going to happen for Kyle Pitts, like RC's been waiting for Javonte, but it makes total sense. All right, Overcome on the super chat. Now, this is right up your alley here, Nick. Devontae Parker back into the fold. You're going to start him over Van Jefferson or Bourne?
I would definitely start him over Bourne, and that is really only because I don't love the matchup. Kendrick Bourne over the whole season is receiver 21.5 PPR. So he's been really good all year long. But I would probably play Devontae Parker over Bourne because of the matchup. And again, because I really do think there's going to be more of a run-heavy game from the Bills and the Pats. So my lean would be I'd play Van Jefferson and Parker. What do you think, RC?
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I think Devontae Parker is probably the best one of that trio. Just because when he does play, Tua does love to hyper target that guy. Like he hyper targets the crap out of him. So yeah, I would definitely start Devontae Parker, then Van Jefferson, and then a distant third is Kendrick Bourne. But it's not a bad trio to have, especially with Kendrick Bourne really surprising a lot of people that maybe aren't paying attention. But he's been a really solid wide receiver the past 6 weeks up there in New England.
So AB has one on Van Jefferson as well, and I'm curious, and RC will throw it right back at you. Rashad Bateman or Van Jefferson? It does look like there's no real issue with Van. I know he had the Q tag kind of associated with him, but shouldn't anything necessarily involving him there. But now you add a different comparison with Rashad Bateman versus Jefferson. Does that change?
Yeah, I think it does, just because of game script again. I fully expect the Rams just to blow out Jacksonville, and it's not going to be close in my opinion. So at least in the Ravens and Steelers game, I know you're going to lose some of those target opportunities because Lamar Jackson is going to run, but at least there will be a few more passing opportunities in general, at least you would expect in that type of game setup. So I'd probably start Bateman over Jefferson in that scenario. Nick, what about you?
The complete opposite. I mean, Bateman
That's what we love to hear.
Has done nothing all season. So I would go with Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson looks good. I mean, it's very true.
2 games before he got injured, he had pretty good target share.
Talk about Bateman?
Yeah.
What do you mean? He literally got hurt at the beginning of the season. Like
when he came back and then he got hurt again.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, I'm literally arguing for a guy that's got
2 games, right?
It's not great. It's
the
not
guy
great for me.
He scored 11 points once in half PPR.
I'm not standing on a high mountain here. This is more like a hill, but maybe an anthill. But I'm just saying, Bateman's been all right. Just a little slight bump, maybe like one of those speed bumps you don't even really slow down for.
Right.
But like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like he's been solid.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to argue that he's like bad, but I would just play Jefferson. I think his upside is significantly higher. Like I think Jefferson could easily score 20 points. I don't think the other guy could do that at all, to be honest.
Like how many targets do you expect Jefferson to get?
Maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah, but even still though,
that's what Bateman's been averaging.
Right, but real quick, let's say Nick's answer was 3 or 4. I mean, Jefferson is still a guy where if you get 2 grabs, you could probably equal what Bateman does in 6 or 7 grabs, right?
Yeah, Jefferson gets 3 catches. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He could get like 100 yards on 3 catches. That's exactly what RC was saying. Sorry.
No, yeah, it's 100% fair. I would just go with Bateman because I feel like there's potential for more targets throughout the whole game and everything like that, where I think potentially out in LA with the Jags and the Rams, that game could be wrapped up by halftime and Matthew Stafford really doesn't have to pass the ball again.
Yeah. All right, let's see where you guys stand on this one. Murray or Mahomes? Daniel on the chat here as far as a quarterback question. A hell of a situation to be in by all means, especially because you were in this situation when both were healthy. Now, granted, you had it easy earlier on when Mahomes was just stinking it up. I'm still not sold. Nick, we'll start with you, man. I'm still not sold that the Chiefs' offense is back. Like the Chiefs seem to be back, but I don't necessarily know if I believe in that. And then on the flip side, you have to deal with Kyler Murray, who may not be 100% on his own. So where do you stand here with this?
Yeah, I would go with it's Murray versus Mahomes. So I would go Murray, but it's not very distant in my opinion. I think that either of these guys could be a top 5 quarterback. I just worry about this Denver game. Just for some reason, I just feel like Denver might be able to shut them down a little bit, even though I'm still going to play Mahomes in like 99% of situations. But I go with Kyler Murray. I do worry, though, that his mobility is going to be a little bit limited because he's a bit banged up. What do you think, RC?
I mean, you can't go wrong with either of them, right? We're talking about 2 guys that are going to potentially finish in the top 3 this week. I would go with Patrick Mahomes, not because I have the picture right up there. I promise that's not the reason why. It's just they're coming off of a bye week, right? And when that happens, I think this is when the Chiefs turn that corner. I think this is when we see the Chiefs become that team that everybody expected them to be all season long. They've been hit by injuries and everything like that. But I think this bye week really helped them, and they're going to get back into shape and everything. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to prove to everybody that they're that team to be reckoned with. And I think that starts this week against Denver. So, again, you can't go wrong with either of them, but I would start Patrick Mahomes just slightly over Kyler Murray.
Yeah, this whole time I thought that was Baker in the background. Up.
Okay,
yeah, I had no idea.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I saw the couch, though. One of our many bosses here, Nolan Kelly on the chat, mentioning how comfortable that couch is. I got to be honest.
You talking about the Papasan chair?
Yeah, like that thing looks impossible to get. I don't know how you get up from that. Do you need help? Do you need somebody to like come over and lift your arms up to get out of that? Especially if you're wasted. 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's definitely a one of those situations where the house nurse has to come help me out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's got one of those I've fallen, I can't get up buttons.
Yeah. Life alert button is actually right next to the plant right there. So y'all can't see it, but the life alert is right there.
Perfect, Nick.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a lot more interesting when you've had a couple to get out of. But the dogs enjoy it. That's really just the dog's chair. We have a weenie dog, and she just loves that thing. She disappears in it, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's a little bit of a bitch to get out of, that's for sure.
I saw Nolan with the shout on the chat, and I was like, wait, you know what? That thing looks impossible to get up.
It's hella comfy. It's hella comfy. I mean,
yeah, like that's 8 hours of you don't plan on moving, and you need like one of those catheters in there so you don't have to get up.
Yeah,
right,
at the
bathroom. It's jug underneath the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a rookie mistake on our part. We haven't put a mini fridge right next to it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a rookie mistake. We'll get better.
The chat helps you. Just like you help the chat gives back. That's what we love. Andrew asking, could use some help here. And a couple of guys that we haven't really introduced yet to the conversation. So let's look at this. And RC, we'll start with you. Yes, pick one, but I'm also curious where you have the other two in comparison to each other. So we have Elijah Moore, T. Higgins, or Chase Claypool.
Okay, so Chase Claypool would probably be third for me on that regard. I love T. Higgins this week. I love the matchup. Again, I know I said that a couple weeks ago, and it completely shit the bet against the Raiders. I don't know what happened there. Really, Joe Mixon is what happened, I guess. But T. Higgins, since the bye week for the Bengals, he's been their number one target. Like Jamar Chase has not been that top 5 wide receiver that he was before the bye week for the Bengals, and Joe Burrow has targeted T. Higgins more than Jamar Chase. So I'm not saying that's going to continue, but it is a good sign for T. Higgins owners. So I would start T. Higgins this week out of that trio. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I would go with T. Higgins as well. I love T. Higgins matchup this week. I mean, the guy was on fire last week. It's the classic touchdown regression, but the opposite way where you haven't scored a touchdown in weeks, so you're going to just go off. So yeah, I agree with you. I think T. Higgins would be my favorite out of that group.
All right, how about this one? Miles Sanders or Elijah Moore? So, Nick, let's throw it back to you. We'll keep this with Elijah Moore and same game, basically with the flow of it. And regardless of who the quarterback is for the Jets, I think we all anticipate they're going to be down or at the very least having to throw. Yeah. Outside of Darius Slay, you can throw against the Eagles. So and then we have this whole conundrum of what to do with Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I think that I would probably go with Elijah Moore. I just don't trust Miles Sanders personally. And I think you brought it up at the beginning of the show, or maybe RC did, where this just screams of a game where Miles Sanders has a bunch of yards but just can't score a touchdown because Boston Scott, his 4-foot-tall ass, just walks into the end zone. And it happens like every week. Like you could just see it coming. You rub the crystal ball, and you could just see that in the crystal ball. I think that Miles Sanders is a good player, but Nick Sirianni clearly doesn't believe in him. So I would go with Elijah Moore. But Elijah Moore has taken a humongous hit in the back of the head. Like he's on a boat in The Sopranos. He got whacked out by Zach Wilson. It's terrible.
Man,
thrown over like big pussy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Also, exactly. I don't want to like throw this under the bus or anything, but that was very generous of you to say that Boston Scott's 4 feet tall. Like that man is not that tall. Yeah. That's
he's wearing those 6-inch cleats. RC.
Oh, is that what they wear in Philly? I didn't. That's on me. I didn't keep up to date with.
No, they wear heels in Philly. That's how he got so tall.
That's on me. I should be up to date more about the fashion around the country.
3.6 without the cleats.
There we go. 3.6 without the cleats. Confirmed. Says so on Wikipedia. That's how you know it's true. Elijah Moore. Yeah, that's who I would start out of Miles Sanders and him. I agree with basically everything Nick said. And if you put Elijah Moore in the slot, like I don't think Darius Slay is going to go there. I mean, he travels a little bit, but I don't see that. And the Eagles have just not been that great at really, covering wide receivers outside of the guy that's on Darius Slay. Shocker. You have a great corner. He's going to be good at what he does. But the Zach Wilson thing scares the ever-living hell out of me, as it should everybody else. But at the same time, who the hell else are you going to throw to? Like, seriously, who else are you going to throw to? Like, if you're not targeting, it's kind of like the Eagles. I guess last week, hopefully they learned their lesson. If you're not targeting Devontae Smith 10 times a game, you failed. Simple and plain. That's how it works with the Jets right now. You have to get Elijah Moore double-digit targets every damn game. It should not matter.
Yeah.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. All right, Lemuel, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, on the chat, our first kicker question. All right, so no questions we won't answer here. Even if you want to do a AME or something, AMA, pardon me, then you can do that with Nick and RC. They'll gladly offer up any information that you're interested in. But in this case, Gould, Butker, or McPherson.
I would go with, unless obviously RC wants to answer this question before me, I think I would go with McPherson because I think that he's just played well recently. And this could be a game where they're kicking a lot of field goals, maybe. My biggest worry, though, is that the Chargers' run defense is just so soft that Mixon just goes off, right? And then they're just scoring so many touchdowns, and then McPherson's kind of screwed. Other than that, I think Gould would also be the answer. And I'm pissed I cut Gould in one of the leagues I'm in, and he's been tearing it up. But yeah, so I would go McPherson. What do you think, RC?
Yeah, I'm the guy that, just for reference, when I pick up a new kicker, the next week after I cut him, he goes off. So to give Lemuel a little bit of hope here, I cut McPherson this week. So there you go. He's going to go off. You're welcome.
Wow.
It's science. It's proven. It's proven science at this point. I've done it 4 times this year. It's worked every time.
Wow.
Interesting. All right, so let me see. Who do I have on my team that you could go ahead and cut?
If anybody wants to know not who to have on their roster right now, it's Brandon McManus. Go cut him.
Go ahead.
Go cut him right now. Get off of him because he's going to do
guy
terrible.
Even on right now?
Oh man, I think
the
he's
Broncos.
Broncos. Kicker.
Yeah, Broncos. I was going to say not Houston.
Oh my God, I have the Houston kicker. That guy sucks. Speaking of that,
Fairbairn?
That guy right now.
Fairbairn?
Yeah.
Is he your only kicker? I can't imagine
you
you're carrying
2 points last week. That motherfucker, and I lost by 0.6 points.
You hate a damn kicker, bro. Kickers are stupid. Outlaw kickers.
Not going to save you in our league this week.
I already cut him for Evan McPherson. Well, I'm starting Ronald Jones against you, so you already won. It's already a wrap. Game set match.
Rough scene.
It's been a rough one.
My team is so bad.
Let's keep it moving here. All right. Christian on the chat. Dallas Goedert, Logan Thomas, or Pat Fryermuth. RC, let's start with you here. Man, as much as I've been on Dallas, you going to go LT on this one?
I'm going LT on this one. Yeah. I'm going to go LT just because I think when you think of Logan Thomas, like it's one of those deals where I don't think people realize how great he's been when he's healthy, right? Like Dallas Goedert is really good as well. And then Pat Fryermuth, all right, he's been really solid as well. But Logan Thomas just screams a guy that Washington is getting back in there trying to make a late postseason push. It's weird. Like, did y'all see that thing this week where the Detroit Lions are still technically playoff eligible?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's it's like spot.
But it's like a 1 in 100 million chance or something.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I read something that apparently in the Avengers that there was a higher chance that
I saw this tweet.
That they beat Thanos than it is that the Lions could make the playoffs. The Lions are like 1 in 1 zillion to make the playoffs. But yeah, it is still possible technically.
What do you think? Like if I put $1 down, does that mean just Vegas crumbles economically? Like what happens there?
Yeah, I made this bet
1 in 100,000?
No. It's like 1 in 100 million.
Yeah. If you
the chances, obviously that's not the bet. I'm just saying, like, let's just hypothetically say that would be awesome just to put $1 down and then retire. Obviously,
there should be a to make the playoffs bet, right? Like there should be a
I don't
future.
Think they offer that anymore.
I think it's off the table just because they don't want to even chance it.
That's the thing. So it's off the table for
Okay.
Yeah, I found out
that makes more sense.
you can make a bet every week where every team gets a safety, and if you bet $1 on it, they owe you $3 billion. But I don't think you'd ever get that money. I think you end up in a river if you win that bet.
Wait, they owe you $3 billion if you hit it once each week, or
no,
combined?
It's once. It's just $1 to win $3 billion. I'm pretty sure.
But you have to get a safety every week, right?
You're talking about a moonshot.
Every team needs to get a safety, which has never happened before. So you bet on every game, all parlay.
Detroit Lions, you can make this bet right now where I am here, but it's a plus 100,000, right? So $1 wins you $1,000.
Like, why the hell not just put $1 down just in case?
Yeah, it's $1,000 profit right there.
Yeah.
You might as well, to be honest with you, right?
What are you going to do? Go get a soda from McDonald's and that'll be better than the 100,000 you could have?
You know what you could do?
Sprite's good, but it's not that good.
It's capped at 95 cents.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's stupid.
So I just placed a 95-cent wager on the Lions to make the playoffs, all right? It will win $950.95 right there. So $950 profit. I'll split it with the two of you. How about that, all right?
Sounds
Let's
great.
go Lions.
All right, there you go. Let's keep it here. All right, Stu's back. We appreciate you, Stu. Where the hell you been? Pick two: Diggs, Waddle, or Renfro. Now, first chance that Nick can brag about Jalen Waddle. We also have to factor in Hunter Renfro and what we talked about earlier with no Darren Waller and some volume share, target share going to him, and then Stephon Diggs, who again, I think it was our buddy Colin Berger on the chat, 20 to 30 mile per hour wind. So you have factors across the board, Nick. We'll let you start since your guy's in this with this question here.
Diggs, Waddle, or Renfro? Is it
Correct.
Just pick one or is it pick two?
Yeah, and I noticed that I set up these questions probably too much for you. So you've lost concentration because you've tuned me out 20 seconds. You're probably thinking just shut the fuck up and get to the question.
No, that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm just literally looking at a bunch of numbers on my screen. I'm not what's his name from
the damn question already.
What's
Shit.
that movie called? Fucking Good Will Hunting, where the guy cracks the code on the chalkboard. That's not me. When I look at the numbers, I just fucking fall asleep, I guess.
All right, Diggs, Waddle, or Renfro.
All right, so if it's only one, then you have to play Diggs. I would order them in the exact order they asked the question: Diggs, Waddle, and then Renfro. Though, I think you'd feel like a fool sitting Diggs. In my opinion, I think you just can't sit him.
It's pick two.
So that's the thing, right?
Crazy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pick two. Then the first two, Diggs and Waddle.
No. But it is pick two. But you're right. It's really a question of picking one, because take Diggs out. Diggs is the obvious one. RC. Now it's down to Waddle or Renfro as Nick ranked them.
I mean, I think Waddle's obvious too. In a PPR league, you have to start Jalen Waddle. If you're not starting Jalen Waddle, then you have Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, and another guy. Waddle is a top 15 wide receiver in PPR. You got to start him no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Overcome on the super chat. We talked a little bit about this from Elijah Moore's standpoint, and there was an early start sit with Corey Davis. It was just a real easy one, though, that was definitive to the other guy. But the question is a little more open-ended here, Nick, and then RC as well. Just what does Corey Davis do playing today, impacting this offense, if anything?
To be honest, I don't think it matters all that much. I think the biggest impact on this team has to be the quarterback, right? I think they're better off with Joe Flacco, and that may sound crazy, right? You draft this guy second overall out of BYU, and fucking Joe Flacco is better than him in 2021. If I'm being honest with you, I honestly believe that. And I feel sorry that I do believe that for all of the fans out there of that team. But at the end of the day, I don't think it has maybe a slight impact. What do you think, RC? I don't think it really matters, to be honest.
Maybe 1 or 2 targets. Again, maybe. I think that's at most. I think Elijah Moore, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're not hyper targeting him, giving him double-digit targets every game, with the position you're in as the New York Jets organization, you're doing everything wrong. You have to hyper target this guy. He gives you the best chance to win in that receiving core. So, I think Corey Davis is a nice number 2 wide receiver. He's solid, but it should have little to no impact on Elijah Moore.
Alex with one on tight ends. We talked about Goddard. Hawkinson was mentioned somewhere else, but now we have Goddard, Hawkinson, or Knox. RC, looking at those 3, which one would you choose?
Goddard, and I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close. Again, I'm a big proponent of the squeaky wheel game. I think Goddard's going to be involved in one. Hawkinson, I mean, I get it. He's probably the only guy you want to throw to outside of Jamal Williams on Detroit. And then Knox is a boomer bust tight end kind of guy for me in terms of he gets a touchdown, he's good. But we've already talked about the weather situation there. So I'm starting Goddard over Hawkinson, and it's a pretty easy decision for me. But what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I would go with, personally, I'd play Dawson Knox. He's just been on a roll. And I think that even in the snow, like, what you're looking for is the red zone targets, and that's what he sees a lot. So
you're taking the risk with Dawson Knox getting a red zone target over, Dallas Goedert likely getting, well, if the Eagles are true to their word and not stupid again, 7 to 8 targets.
No, you're going to bet on the Eagles being true to their word.
Listen, I know that they're stupid, but they can't be that dumb. Like, I mean, they publicly went out and did it. Like, Nick Sirianni's not going to have a job next year if they don't get these guys the football at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that both could be true, though.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying both of your scenarios where guys don't get the ball and he ain't here next year.
You're right.
Here's the
that's why he wouldn't be there.
Correct. I think, though, there's one variable that I don't know how to factor in with the Eagles offense this week, and that's Jalen Hurts was such a TD vulture in the goal line scenarios, in the red zone scenarios, where I think he even was like top 5 in attempts from the 3-yard line and in, and everybody else clearly running backs. So you have that threat to run the football from the quarterback removed now. What does that mean? Does that mean that Miles Sanders and Boston Scott, as you mentioned, RC, now get a little bit more looks on the goal line? Or does that mean that someone like Dallas Goedert becomes a bigger target in the red zone because there's now more of an emphasis to throw as opposed to just Jalen Hurts tucking? And then that all goes back to Nick, where it's like, if we come up with a logical answer to that, are we still going to trust that the team is going to follow it logically? Because I don't. And I watch this team every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. Talking about logic and the Eagles in the same sentence does seem kind of idiotic, right?
Yeah, it seems kind of crazy.
Is Hawkinson definitively third, though, in this list? Can we make an argument for TJ to be above either Dallas or even Knox?
I think he is above Knox.
I think you could easily make that argument because Hawkinson really hasn't been as disappointing recently. He did have a game a couple weeks ago where he scored 0, which obviously sucks, but as a whole, he's been a lot safer recently. And I think that, again, we've talked about this, how I think that the Eagles not the Eagles, I think that the Lions can win this game. And I think there's going to be a high-scoring game. So you could make the argument for all of them. These are all guys that are kind of every week are fringe top 5 options. So I'd personally go with Knox. But if you want to make the argument for any of the guys, it wouldn't surprise me,
I do think it matters, though, the scoring on this, too. Like, I'm assuming it's PPR. I would rather start Goddard, Hawkinson, and PPR, and I'd feel a lot more comfortable with Nick's, proposition of starting Knox in a non-PPR type setting, because it's not going to hurt me as much if, Goddard catches 7 passes for 49 yards, and then Knox has the chance at a couple touchdowns. Like, it's not going to hurt me as much. So if it's non-PPR, I think I'd actually probably go with Nick in terms of Knox, but if it's PPR, I'm starting Goddard, then Hawkinson in that order.
Yeah, real quick.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I got a notification. Corey Davis is going to play, and then Odell Beckham Jr. is going to play as well.
Okay, good. So now that it's official with Beckham, I'm sure people, any issue or scenario you have with him, throw out. We'll get to that here in the final 9 minutes or so and go through as many as we can here. So let's start. Matt, quarterback question, Burrow or Murray? First time these two have been matched up in our chat, Nick.
Yeah, Burrow or Murray, I would go with Murray personally. I think that Burrow could easily... The problem with this game against the Chargers is I genuinely have 0 read on it. I'm pretty sure that the spread on this game is either -3 or -3.5 in favor of the Bengals. And I have no idea how Vegas got to that line. I think this is like a coin flip game. But I would go with Murray, even though I think that his mobility is going to be limited, which does impact him, obviously, right? Because he's very good at rushing the ball, but I would still go with Kyler Murray. I think he's in for a solid spot. I mean, the Bears defense is just bad. So what do you think, RC?
I'm right there with you. Start your stud in Kyler Murray. You're going to be kicking yourself if Kyler Murray goes off his first week back and Joe Burrow is just okay. Like, you're going to kick yourself over that. Play your stud in Kyler Murray.
Agreed.
So I have a question, and it's only for RC because I can't ask Nick this question. And I'll weight it specifically, so we'll see where RC's allegiance is, if it's screwing me over or screwing Lepre over. Cousins or Burrow Who do I start against notorious FNTSY this week?
Oh, let's go Cousins.
Okay.
Let's go Cousins.
So Nick?
Yeah, I'm here.
Who would you least like to see?
I don't even know. It doesn't matter to me. It's over anyways.
You're not even checking that league. I'm
Put
sorry.
the white flag up. It's over. It's not even that it's not that I'm not trying. Like, I obviously set my lineup or something, but it's just like Dalvin Cook's out. Unless Jamal Williams drops 50 points, like there's probably no way I win, which sucks. That's the only league I'm doing bad in, and that's the league I wanted to win too, because it'd be so funny if I beat you. But of course, now I suck. I'm gonna get relegated to the D League. I don't even think there is a D League, and I'm gonna end up there.
No, don't worry. You're safe from that.
You can't go down anymore in terms of relegation. Like, this is it.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
this is
exactly
it.
it. Yes.
It's terrible. Honestly, it's embarrassing. You know, but it is
Let's
what
look
it
at
is.
this one. This is an interesting issue/problem to have, but again, we're dealing with the Q tag and really just playing through injury on one of them. So, RC, Hopkins or Pittman, full PPR?
Hopkins. Start your stud, man. Start your stud.
Yeah, Hopkins
Like,
or Pittman. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know why I just talked over you. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. I mean, start your stud in DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals, they're still in a very good position to make the playoffs. Like, for me, it's one of those situations where you would not be putting DeAndre Hopkins out there if he was not at least, 95% at this point, right? Like, there's no reason for you to do it if you're the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm going to start DeAndre Hopkins over Pittman. But that's a hell of a if you want to make a trade through different leagues, I'm down for it, bro. I need a wide receiver desperately.
Yeah, I would go with sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I would go with Hopkins as well. Pittman just sucks recently. I hope he has a big game this week, but I don't really trust him.
So we have a couple of bigger name start sits here. Before we get to that, though, Corey Davis or Darius Slayton, Nick? Let's scrape the bottom here.
Oh, man. I'd play Corey Davis. I don't trust either of them, though. I mean, the Dolphins' defense is so good, but Dennis Slayton's one of the only guys out there. If you're going high risk, high reward, I'd go Slayton, though. He's like the one guy that could catch that deep ball, take it on into the end zone, and have a fantastic day.
I almost just threw up my breakfast right there at that question.
This is tough. Deep league, we assume, rise in,
Can we just is there a wave the white flag option like Nick said? No, I'm just kidding. I would start Corey Davis, though. At least you know that in that game script, I mean, both game scripts will probably be pass heavy for both teams, but at least you know that Zach Wilson will throw the football for interceptions and give his wide receivers a chance while Daniel Jones will fumble them instead.
True.
All right, let's look at Luis on the chat. Hollywood or Jamar Chase, RC?
Oh, man, looking at the matchups real quick for the Ravens. Man, Steelers matchup for the Ravens, and then you have Chase. He's going up against the Chargers. Yeah, I'm going to go Chase here on this one. Again, a great situation to have if we're being honest about it. But I think last week was the T. Higgins week, and I still think T. Higgins will be involved. But I think Jamar Chase, it's a small squeaky wheel type game for him this week, and I think he'll be targeted against the Chargers secondary that really isn't as great as people think. So I would probably go Jamar Chase over Hollywood in this regard. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I completely agree with what you said. I just don't really trust Hollywood Brown every single week, whereas I'm pretty confident Jamar Chase could be a top 5 receiver. Now, does that mean that I'm sitting Hollywood Brown in every situation? Of course not, but I think that Jamar Chase is far safer, and they probably have the exact same upside. So I'd go Chase.
Agreed.
Nick, let's start here. What about Terry McLaurin or Hunter Renfrow this week?
Terry McLaurin or Hunter? Yeah, I think you have to play McLaurin, and I like Renfrow a lot, but I would play McLaurin.
Same.
All right.
Start your studs, man. It's that easy.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a really high-scoring game, in my opinion. Again, just walking right all over you guys. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's a conversation. It doesn't have to be rigid by any means.
I do think that Hunter Renfrow is super safe in PPR, though. Like, I view him as a wide receiver, too. It's just I view Terry McLaurin just a little bit higher. That's it. Like, that's a good situation to be in, too. Especially with no Darren Waller, I expect Hunter Renfrow to get, 8 to 12 targets today.
Yeah.
All right, this one is the one you've been waiting for, RC. J-Rob or Javonte Williams?
You know what week it is. Come on. Come on, son. You know what week it is. You know what
James
week
Robinson
it is.
week, baby.
I am ready to be hurt, fellas. I am ready to be hurt with every ounce of my being. I'm ready to be hurt. I'm ready to be hurt so bad.
Robinson's banged up too, right? So even if you're not
so ready.
sharing that love that RC is for Javonte, you still have to go with a healthy back, don't you, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. I would go with Javonte Williams. I mean, this is such a good matchup. This is like, not even that it's a good matchup. It's just like finally Melvin Gordon's hurt. So the fact that you draft this guy in the 5th round, you can finally play him.
It's happening, Nick. It's happening. Embrace it. Embrace Javonte Williams week.
Yeah, I like
All right. Let's go a couple rapid fires here. Mike Williams or Elijah Moore, RC?
Elijah Moore.
Mike Williams.
Gronk or Kittle?
Gronk.
Kittle.
Gronk over Kittle, yeah?
Yeah, Gronk is amazing.
I think this is a Kittle week where he's the tight end like 1 or 2. I think he just goes bananas with no Debo.
I hope
How about Michelle or Jacobs?
I'd go Michelle by a mile.
Michelle, yep.
Jamal Williams or Claypool will assume full PPR?
Williams.
Williams by a mile.
Okay. Now here we go. Half PPR, make it a little difficult for you. We've got Hilton Bateman or Devontae Parker. Ooh.
Parker.
Of course you're going to say Parker.
Hey, I'm right there with him. I don't even like the Dolphins.
Yeah, you're really not going to like them when they beat you down in a couple weeks, pal.
Calm down. My team is literally known as the Tennessee IRs.
That's
Everybody's
true.
on IR. It's ridiculous.
Get a couple more here. Pick 2, full PPR. Jamal, Sanders, Montgomery, Michelle, RC.
Pick a couple, you said?
Yeah.
2.
Gonna start Jamal. Oh man. And then what was the second name you said?
Sanders, Montgomery, or Michelle?
I'm gonna go the backup running backs. Yeah, it was a Nick moment for me. I'm gonna go Jamal and Michelle in that regard.
That's what I was gonna say too. Yeah, I agree.
All right. And saw this Chase Allen, Waddle, or change out Javonte Williams with 1 in flex to play all 3. Nick?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. I would just keep how you got it.
Just keep Chase Allen and Waddle. Or no, keep Chase and whoever else you have, right?
Yeah, I would start. Yeah, I'm all about Javonte Williams, but I'm starting Chase, Keenan Allen, and Waddle, especially if it's PPR.
So,
yeah.
Right. So you're taking Williams out to ensure that you have those 3.
Yes.
Is that what you meant to say too, Nick?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought that they were already in the lineup. That's my
right.
fault.
No, it was a little confusing with the layout of it. Absolutely. All right, we got that. We appreciate everybody. Look, and if your specific question isn't answered, hopefully there's a name or 2 in your question that's answered. That's why we try and get as many possible names out there. We really appreciate you hanging with us. We're here each and every Sunday, 11:45 a.m. Eastern time. Get a little extra time to go through everything you have. Grateful at Notorious, FNTSY, at RCMB323 for both Nick and RC, respectively, on Twitter. I'm at Shander Show. Chris, producing, we appreciate you. And all you out there, hit that thumbs up button, please, and make sure you're subscribed here to the Awesemo season-long fantasy football channel. Thanks to Yahoo. Those links are there for you. 1 free month. Awesemo plus Platinum. You know the drill. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Adios, as they say.